Hey guys, welcome to the Cultivated Life podcast. I am so glad that you are joining us this evening, and we have a lot of great things to share. I've got David and Emily Schmeck with us. Did I get that last name right?
Schmenk, close enough.
Schmenk, like mink.
Mink with a schmenk.
Okay. I've been practicing this, people. I really have. Before we jump into the podcast, I can't wait for you to hear their story. I'm going to encourage you to share this. Click the like button, click the share button, click the subscribe button, all the good buttons. Don't click any bad buttons, all right? And leave me some comments in the bottom. Let me just share with you, we got a few books. Sharon and I have been put together a series of books. We have a number of books. This is a book on character, developing the lost art of character. This, I took all the scriptures from Proverbs, broke them down verse by verse, and put them in different categories. Sharon did a message about a year ago on the saved mind, and this is what came out of it. It's a few chapters, like 5 chapters, and then 14 days of devotions. Fantastic, spirit-led life. So go to the cultivatedlifeministries.com, cultivatedlifeministries.com. All right, enough of all that stuff. Enough of all that. So let's talk about how we met. We've only been friends for 6 months, maybe 5 or 6 months, and it's like we've known each other forever.
Yeah.
So our life has just become so ingrained. Tell me about the first time you guys walked in the doors.
We're on family vacation in Punta Cana with Emily's parents, and my best friend, will come up, I'm sure, multiple times during this, Brock Dodrell, who lives down in Wasion, he invited us to a prophetic workshop.
Yeah.
I had been away from the church, for the Catholic Church, for 20 years, and for some reason it just spoke to me. It was just, we talked about it, and it was like, well, let's go check this out. And so we invited our friend of ours, Janelle Ahmad, and she just was like, oh, I actually go to that church. So we're like, all right, well, this must be a good place. We came to the 2-day workshop.
Yeah, Friday night, Saturday morning.
The rest is history.
So your friend Brock, who lives in Wapakoneta, told me. Then you told Janelle. Janelle says she goes to this church. So it was almost like God was setting the stage for something really fantastic. Yeah. So what was your impression when you walk into the prophetic conference and you hear, because you're coming from pretty much a non-church background for a few years, maybe experimenting in some other spiritual aspects, but now all of a sudden you walk into this prophetic. What's your first opinion, or what's going through your head?
Well, I grew up Jewish, so I didn't even know what a prophetic workshop was. So that was fun. A lot of Googling, and David explained it multiple times in multiple ways, and Janelle did too. But when we walked in, it was almost as if we'd been there before, just very welcoming people, and we didn't know anybody, but we just felt this sense of, I think we're supposed to be here for some reason, so we kind of...
I love that. I love that it really is like you guys connected that first few minutes that you were here. And it was like the connection.
You were talking to Brock right when we walked in the door, introduced us over, and you weren't even the main event there.
No, I was sitting on the front row.
You had brought in the Bethel Church of Cleveland, right? Just to give my first impression, so being raised Catholic, it's a very traditional, and I was an altar boy, did the whole song and dance.
Yeah.
And, when worship started and some people around us started moving around and hands started coming up and people were leaving their seat, it was very, very uncomfortable to start, because that is not at all something that happens in the Catholic Church. But we got into it. We were kind of just like looking at each other at first. Your son Grant is just amazing singer, amazing at
he
leading worship.
He carries a heavy anointing to move people into the presence of God.
Mm-hmm.
He really does.
Yeah. So, but I don't think we've missed. The only times we'd ever missed since then, a Sunday or anything else that we're involved in Bible studies, and we're all in. It's been amazing.
I love what God's doing. Yeah. So you mentioned being Jewish, being raised Jewish. You mentioned being raised Catholic. Tell me a little bit about that, being raised Catholic, and then if you don't mind, we'll let David go first here. Tell us about your upbringing, your family, kind of how you were raised, and how you got away. How you got away from the church?
Well, my mom calls herself a cradle Catholic. My entire family, German Catholic family on both sides, is very, very Catholic, very, very involved. Growing up, it was more of an because I went to a Catholic school growing up, we went to church at least once a week, plus my family went every Sunday. It turned into more of not a chore, but more of it was just a routine thing.
Where you gotta just check off the box.
Kind of going through the motions, doing all the different postures and whatnot, sit and stand and all that. Not to say I didn't get anything from it, but the connection that now actually getting into the scripture now and actually connecting it to my life in a meaningful way was a game changer now. Could have read through a lot of the stuff was stuff that I remember or stuff that I could recall, but
the big stories in the Bible,
and you can easily go through the motions and not ever really connect with any of it, and that's kind of how it was. So when I drifted away from the church for all that time, it was obviously there was always something missing, not really knowing what it was. I definitely have some regret that I didn't raise my son. I wish my son had a chance to grow up the way Bella's growing up in the church and in this community, but he's been here a few times, and
Was it college? Is that when you kind of strayed, or was it after college?
Definitely college. When I moved away, and it probably happens quite a bit.
Yeah,
I imagine.
It does. So. It does. It's a high percentile of people kids raised in and around the church who, when they hit that college age, they kind of get lost. And that's one of the things that Sharon and I are really serious about when we talk about the cultivated life, is we talk about discipleship. And the whole idea is raising up a generation that knows God. Mm-hmm. So we want to get them while they're Bella's age.
Yeah.
So your daughter Bella is 6?
Yeah.
6, yeah.
6. We want to catch them at that age, get the word into them so that when they get to the college age, they're strong enough.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your background.
Well, I grew up Jewish, Reformed Jewish.
Okay.
And we were pretty religious as well. Every Friday we would go to temple. We went to Sunday school every Sunday. We upheld all of the typical Jewish traditions and holidays at home. Our family kept kosher. So I think, similar to David, when I went to college, I joined Hillel, which is like a Jewish organization for college students. But beyond that, I didn't go to temple. I stopped going.
Yeah.
I had lost my community.
Mm-hmm.
So I think when you're on a college campus and far away from home, don't really know anyone, it's not as easy to stay in sync with all the things you grew up with. So.
Yeah, that's true. Now, you mentioned Reformed Judaism. Mm-hmm. Where does that land? I know it's like Christianity. You've got a lot of different variations of that. Is it similar with Jewish religion as well?
Yeah, so Reform is probably the most liberal sect of Judaism. It goes Reform, Conservative, Orthodox. So the Orthodox Jews are the more traditional Jews that you'll see. Yes.
Yes. Okay. Okay. So, but you were still raised at the temple. You were still raised with all the Jewish feasts and holidays and all of that. Mm-hmm. So then you guys getting together, how did that happen?
Yeah.
Being Jewish and then being Catholic, but then being separated from that.
I would say it was spirituality in a way that linked us up.
Really?
So
That's
I was
interesting.
Working in digital media, running a network of fitness websites for a company called Bluefin Media, and I needed content creators. I was managing all these websites, and I needed content experts for all, so I had trainers from all over the country and some of them are famous now, trainers, and then I needed some content, some articles to be written. So I think I found her on Facebook through friends. I don't know. I found her on LinkedIn and it was because Emily's background, she has a PhD and does a lot of work with autoimmune and autism spectrum disorders and is a legit expert on a lot of these topics. And there was a section on the website that I had to fill content for, and it was for mental health and for healthy lifestyle. And I think I reached out to her and we did an interview.
Perfect fit.
Interview turned into 9 hours or something on the phone over the next couple of days, and the rest is history.
Man.
But I was very, very much into yoga and meditation and all that at that time, and at that time she was as well. I kind of like from that level of spirituality, which obviously that all morphed. It's spirituality, but it's a different kind of spirituality. Well,
spirituality can be very broad, and that's the challenge a lot of people are dealing with now. Is everybody wants to claim to be spiritual, but not religious? Right. What does that even mean? Right? It can mean anything people choose it to mean.
No obedience whatsoever. You can just be spiritual and not have to follow the word.
So when you say you were a yoga instructor, how deep were you into that?
I didn't get as deep as It was more the physical aspect.
Oh.
I mean, I was into the meditation. I wasn't into the chanting and all the weird aspects.
So you weren't into the religious side.
No, not at all.
But more into the physical
No.
side.
Definitely the physical side, and it was fascinated by. I've always been fascinated with the anatomy of it, helping people fix their bodies, fix injuries, sports type stuff to help with sports.
Because you were an athlete growing
from
up.
an athlete all the way
Yeah.
up to college and everything. It's always been a passion of mine. Now it's the spirituality is completely out of it. Now I'm just helping people make their lives more longevity into. When I look back on it now, and I can see the yoga aspect of it, it makes me uncomfortable now being baptized and being, a professed Christian here now. So now I steer clear of the actual label of yoga even. I don't even really practice yoga. It's all just, I work out, I help people with their posture, help them make their lives better.
So you took all the good parts out that you can transfer over.
Exactly.
And you've stayed with that.
Yeah.
So you had mentioned that you have a PhD in autoimmune disorders and autism. Talk to me about that.
Yeah, the background is actually in autism, and then it branched out into autoimmune disorders, metabolic disorders, and then it evolved into oncology, actually, over the last few years. I had always had a fascination with the metabolic side of autism and the genetic side.
Okay.
And that kind of, once you open that can of worms and really dig into root cause, you start to realize that every disease and illness has a root cause, and that you just need to really take the time to get to figure out what's going on with.
And not just take another pill.
Right.
Which is the easy thing to do.
Yes.
Right? So what drew you to the autistic piece of that? What were you in a family that had autism, or did you have friends, or just something clicked in your head and you were like, yeah, that's interesting. I need to figure that out.
I kind of followed my parents' path. Both my parents are retired now, but my dad was a school psychologist, child psychologist, and my mom was one of the first special education teachers in New York State to have a self-contained classroom for just children with autism.
Really?
So she had the unique opportunity to teach the same group of children with autism from a young age until they graduated high school.
So they didn't
really
change
cool.
classes. She walked with them.
Yes.
What an amazing journey that
Yes.
she's probably got some stories of just
She's got some amazing
walking with
stories.
these kids and their families.
And it takes my mom is a machine. She put so much love and passion into her teaching. And I just watched with admiration how she and my dad just worked and what they did in their professional lives. And then they brought it home. They would talk about things at the dinner table. And it just fascinated me. And I remember when I was, I think, a junior or senior in high school, I was old enough to sort of help out during the summers when my mom was teaching summer school. So I got to see what her classroom was like and what these kids were like. And it was just beyond anything I could comprehend. It's just, there's so much work and heart involved in that.
So this is triggered when something got sparked in you when you were 14, 15, 16 years old, helping your mom in a classroom.
Yeah.
And then you go on and now you are helping people in multiple areas.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that story. So you're doing this now. Tell me a little bit more about what you're doing now with all that you do, because both of you guys do a lot. And we're going to have to kind of take it piece by piece, right? Little piece of the pie, and then we'll just keep talking, right? So tell us a little bit about what you're doing now and how that ties back to your PhD and the autism and the oncology and all of that kind of stuff.
So what I'm doing now is actually, I took an interesting path when I finished my PhD. I didn't go into teaching or education the way I had planned. I actually started a juice company. I don't know how that even evolved, but
it's called?
It's called Neuroflex Juice.
Okay.
And we're about in our 10th year.
10th year.
Year of business.
Wow.
We should probably celebrate that. We forgot. We got so
10
busy
years.
with stuff. Yeah, it's our 10th year.
Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, at Rust Belt Coffee, we've been there 9 years. That's a long
It
time.
is.
Time, especially for
And you look
something
back,
like that.
and same way with I mean, if you do anything for 10 years, especially as a business owner, I mean, that's a huge win.
Yeah.
Most people
5
get 3
years is
years,
even a win,
5 years, and then it's like, oh, we're out of this. We're moving on, especially entrepreneurial people.
Right.
But you're doing it not for the entrepreneur, not for the business side. You're doing it for the health side.
Yes.
And both of you work together on that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so that actually started. Well, I was a professor at Defiance College for a few years, and I did not like higher ed. I felt too limited, and I was sort of boxed in because I was more interested in the health and medical aspects of autism. So I kind of created my own path and started doing behavioral consulting and ABA for children with autism.
What's ABA?
ABA is applied behavior analysis, and it's a
Behavior
method of
analysis.
skills teaching, basically.
Okay.
So I was doing that, but aside from that, when these families would come to me, I would give them behavior tips and behavior plans and things like that, but I would also talk about nutrition. There's a lot of issues with nutrition with kids with autism. One of them is that they tend to just not be adventurous with food. So therefore
They
they're
get
not,
a very small, limited diet,
yes, very
whether
limited.
that's good or bad, and they get stuck on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, there's things, of course, like gluten sensitivity and certain foods that are just not the best for children with autism. So I would do some counseling with that. And then I kept thinking to myself, these kids don't like to swallow pills. They won't swallow tablets. How can I hide nutrients in something that they will eat or drink? So I started making juice in my little kitchen for kids with autism. And I was using like the ball jars. I mean, it was very, very like
Rustic.
rugged. Yes.
Rustic.
Well, that's you do what you got to do
Yeah.
to fill your passion, right?
Yes.
You got a passion, you got a dream, you figure it out, you make it work.
Yeah.
Even if it's ball jars and it don't look cool,
It was
we're getting
definitely
it
not
started.
cool, not
yeah,
glamorous.
I love that.
So I started doing that, and then one of the moms of the kids I was working with was like, wow, this is really good. And I've been wanting to lose weight. Do you make juice cleanses? And I'm like, I guess I could. So one thing led to another, and then that mom told another mom, that mom told another mom, and it somehow went viral. And then being viral also led to somebody narking on me with the health department.
Oh, wonderful.
So, and I didn't know what I was doing at this point.
You were just trying to help people.
Yeah, I had
Yeah.
no business
Sincere.
background. I had no food service background, so I didn't know I didn't know it was illegal to make juice in your kitchen and sell it. So my bad. I got in trouble. So then we had to lease out a space and started selling it and learning how to label it, and people just loved it, and it sort of blossomed from there. And then we tied the health consulting piece into that as well.
Gotcha.
And with the juice company came a lot of patients with cancer, just for a few reasons. Some of them were focusing on nutrient intake, getting more antioxidants and beta carotene and things like that. Some were at a point of cachexia, which in cancer is where you just really start to lose your appetite and have trouble eating.
Yeah.
So juice seemed to be a good way to get nutrients in without disrupting too many of those symptoms. So,
Well, and I've had juice, and I'm not a healthy eater by nature. Part of the benefit of having a high metabolism is I've been able to, I don't have a weight problem per se, but that gives me the option then of eating what I want,
right.
unhealthy. So I've tried the juice stuff, and it was like, oh, man, it's like drinking sand or something. I don't know. It was just, but man, when I drink yours, I've had, I don't know, 4, 5, 6 different drinks, and they're fantastic. And we sell them at Rust Belt.
Yeah.
They're absolutely, every one of them that I've had is delicious. And so I love the fact, kind of your journey, and you said it was kind of an odd journey of how you got there.
Yeah.
So then where are you at in all this journey? Because you were, when you first met, you were in this digital media stuff, and
I was teaching yoga a lot. I think when I stopped teaching in studios, I had taught something crazy. I think I have 4,000 teaching hours.
Oh my
Or
goodness.
something insane. I've taught a lot of you,
Yeah, a
but
lot.
that was another component of the juice company. Is I had things that kind of go hand in hand with the
True.
juicing, yoga. It's kind of the same demographic usually.
Yep.
And then they wanted to start getting juice cleanses, and that it really took off from there. But we have an interesting. I always talk to people that have a husband and wife team that do stuff, or even just they could never comprehend the idea of working with their significant other.
Yeah.
And it's like we have a good balance. I mean, we most of the time.
I get it, because Shannon and I have co-pastored for 32 years. And many days we are on sync. We are on track with each other. She's in her lane, I'm in my lane. And then there's other days where we kind of get mixed up on where we're supposed to be, and then we have to navigate that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to stay married. It's a little more challenging, I'll say, to stay married to somebody you're working with.
It is.
Because, you really have to navigate some extra bumps in the road, if you will, to where if you're just getting up, having coffee, you go to your jobs, you come home, you talk about Bob and Sally at the job, and then you watch TV and go to bed. That's easy, right? Or for us that work with our spouses, that looks easy, right? But then when you're working with each other, that's challenging, and that's what you guys have been doing.
Yeah, we kind of divide up the responsibilities, though. So, like,
all the hard stuff.
I'll do, like,
come on now,
sourcing the produce, because as you can imagine, that a lot of produce goes into pumping out the bottles of juice that we do every week.
How many bottles are you guys doing a week?
Hundreds. I don't even know. At one time, we were doing like 70, 100 bottles a week at one time.
Wow.
We're not doing that anymore.
But you got to go buy the fruit.
Oh, yeah. We get regular deliveries of
we get most
cases.
of it shipped, but there's always the exotic things like pomegranates that we
stuff that we
don't
can't
necessarily always buy in bulk. So he hunts them down.
Yeah,
He's the resourceful one.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and I do a lot of the actual juicing too. So I'll juice it because we have so many flavors too that I'll juice all of the stuff, and then she'll come in. I'm faster at juicing the stuff. She's faster at labeling bottles and filling them. So it's It's the division of labor. And then I also have a day job too. So I work in industrial consulting. So we just do so much stuff.
Yeah. You guys are staying busy.
We have a lot of little side jobs that we do too, just with consulting, and David still does private classes. And
So it's
so you're still doing the physical side of yoga.
Yeah.
You have your real job.
My real job. My
As they would
9
say.
to 5 remote.
You're doing the juicing.
Yeah.
And then you do some consulting outside of that.
At odd hours. I will be there at 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. at the juice shop. I don't know how I do it either. So it's I do. We do what we have to do, and
which is what people that own businesses and that have a real passion, they figure it out. They figure it out. And that's what you guys are doing.
And we involve Bella as much as we can and stuff too. I'll bring her there, especially during
summer. That's what we do with our boys.
Yeah.
Our boys are involved with us here. You see them all the time everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Because from the time they were little,
that's one of the things about this place
they tag along with me.
I love that your family is so involved and everybody has a part to play. That's amazing.
But we started at Bella's age. You can't wait till they're 20 and then say, "Oh, why don't you come and help me do this?" You start to where it becomes a part of their life.
Yeah.
It's just what we do.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's great watching her just develop these little leadership skills here and there.
Yeah.
Man.
She actually thinks she owns the business.
Of course she does. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, one of our boys, I forget which one it was, but one of our boys I overheard him telling somebody, I'm the pastor of the church. He was like 7.
Yeah.
So I get it.
They run the show.
It's just, that's awesome. That's beautiful how that works. So you guys really kind of, if you take all that you do is really in health and restorative health.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about the oncology, cancer treatment, what you're finding there, how the juicing impacts that.
Right. So how this evolved was we were getting more clients with cancer, and they were coming to me, and I was noticing a lot of frustration with the current healthcare system. What we're limited to, at least here locally, and I think this is actually a nationwide issue, is just limited time with healthcare professionals in the hospital setting. And you're pretty much stuck with the standard of care unless you're in a special clinic. So
the doctor comes in, stays 3 minutes, he's gone to the next place. Nurse comes in, checks your pressure, she's gone.
Yeah, and sometimes there are oncologists who will spend a bit more time, and I've actually sat in on some appointments with some really fantastic oncologists here in Toledo. So we are lucky to have some really great providers here, but they are still limited in terms of the standard of care, which is you get a diagnosis, and along with that diagnosis comes option A, B, or C, which is usually chemotherapy, sometimes radiation, sometimes immune therapy, and then some patients opt just for hospice and palliative care if it comes to that. But there's a lot of different treatments, there's a lot of different complementary therapies that most patients aren't made aware of. And so I started to sort of pick up on that, and people started asking me about what can I take for this, or what can I add to my diet to increase my antioxidants, or things like that. Each person that came to me, and then I started realizing that people were asking me about lab work. What do these labs mean? If I have a low level of this, what should I be eating more or less of? And so I started actually doing lab reviews and lab analysis. I can also order labs for patients really wanted more detailed testing, more advanced testing.
Doctor, every year I go to the doctor. One time I didn't go for like 3 years, and she's like, you got to show up every year. And I said, why? She said, because I need to make sure you're still alive. And I'm like, I'm alive. If I'm not well, I'm coming to you. But then every year she sends me, go get all these labs. Yeah. And I go get all these tests. I have no idea what I'm looking at. I go into her office, and she's a great doctor. She reads down, okay, this is good, this is good, this is good. I think you're good to go. I'm out the door, and I have no idea what we're even talking about, but all I hear is I'm still alive. That's all I got. You can actually sit down with somebody that's get a negative report and say, let's talk about this and how we can help this. So then you can kind of pinpoint needs an area and then facilitate more holistic help in that area.
The other thing I do, I'm a data junkie. David will tell you I love spreadsheets.
Spreadsheets
is
definitely her love language.
So I really love getting data together and summarizing it. And what I was finding was helpful to patients was taking the time, and I will do a deep dive into your medical records. Like, we'll go back to 2005 when you were in college, and
oh my goodness,
looking at things like that. But a lot of patients have like 4 different patient portals, paper copies, and
true.
And that is overwhelming to anyone. So I started compiling these and putting them into one dashboard so that you can really look at true trends over time. And what I started to do on top of that was to put together a medically advanced summary of what has been going on, what their current symptoms are, and where they're at. And doctors do this all the time with visits. They'll put it into SOAP notes or things like that, into summaries. So I do like the granddaddy of all summaries, and the goal of that is to have patients bring it to their providers so that they can take the next step. So they'll have this big report, and they can hand it to the oncologist, and instead of going through the whole thing for the limited amount of time they have, they now have this super concise piece of paper they can hand their doctor. I help them also with advocacy issues. So if they're saying, I'm having a tough time getting my doctor to listen to me, or I really don't understand my diagnosis, I will write out a little script, or we'll go through and sort of do a little list of questions for them
to help the patient ask the right questions.
Yeah.
How are you guys not completely overwhelmed?
Oh, we are.
Okay.
Well, it's all about and I just talked
because
about this
I'm
earlier.
thinking
like
about this.
The whole goal. Emily won't say this about herself, but Emily's amazing at what she does. I mean, she's life-changing at the work that she does, especially with cancer. And the whole goal, for me at least, is to facilitate that, to take as much work off her plate that is not
stuff that you can do.
Stuff that I can do to take that off the table so I can
let
her, facilitate her to be able to do. And that's kind of how the foundation that we started came about. So bring up my friend again, Brock Dodd, my best friend. His dad, his mom had gotten pancreatic cancer, stage 4, I think, when we got to it. It was 2013.
23.
Yeah, or 2023, excuse me.
Yeah, that's right.
Ain't correcting me. 2023,
the
and
data kicked in.
they'd reach out to, it's my best friend. I grew up with him, so I was very close with his parents. It was devastating to find out. But I got Emily involved right away, and it was kind of late in the game because it was in a bad situation. But Emily was able to really help, and because she had wishes, she didn't want to suffer and do the chemo. I mean, it was progressed to the point where it was inoperable. So Emily was able to really be an advocate for them, to let her have her wishes of how she wanted to live. And actually, I think she extended out her life quite a bit to be able to see her daughter get married. So that's after she passed, after some time, her husband, Brad Dodrell, basically reached out to us. He took Emily out for lunch or dinner and was like, you need to be doing this kind of work. And we need to be able to help people the way you helped us. So, and that's kind of how the foundation.
So you guys have just launched the foundation.
Yeah.
What's the website if anybody would want to go there to find out more about your foundation and what you're doing? Where's a good place to go for that?
It's www.dodrellfoundation.org, and it's DODRILL.
Okay, so we'll put that in the notes. DODRILL, two L's.com.
Foundation.
Yep. Foundation.com.
It's actually called the Dodrell Foundation for Personalized Oncology. It's like the full name. And that's exactly what it is. It's personalized to help, to give you all the data, to give you all the options, the actual options. Some of the options are not comfortable for a doctor to talk about because it's kind of out of the scope of what they're comfortable even talking about, the way they're trained and with the way the rules that they have. I've seen this happen time and time again where people are just in tears when Emily hands over their, because it's a huge comprehensive compilation of all the data, all the history from all the different health systems, and people really brings comfort when you're in there's no control. You feel like you have no control when you have cancer and diagnosis like that. So at least gives you some sort of a sense of control to where you can guide, at least take the steps in the direction that you want to.
I love that. I love your all's heart. Now, we met about 6 months ago, and then we have been on a fast discipleship, deep dive into the Word, prayer, the Spirit, worship. So you guys come from religious backgrounds that have really are very distant from who we are as a church, Life Chapel, the church that I lead, and the way we see Scripture. Let's talk about that now. I want to just kind of shift gears and jump over to the discipleship piece, because Sharon and I have this passion to raise up generations that know God. We don't want them to know religion, denominations. We want them to have a real relationship with God. So that's why we do everything we do, the books, the podcast, the teachings, everything that we do it to kind of get people not connected to us, connected to God, directly connected. So we want to be the kind of the intercessor that comes and just pulls people together with God and makes that connection. So let's start with, what's the number one thing that you think has motivated you, and it could be different for both of you, toward knowing God in a deeper way?
Throughout this process, I'm going to talk about Janelle for a moment. Janelle is, I think, one of the big players and who really brought us to this church. She was kind of that piece that made everything fit together. And I was helping Janelle with her cancer journey at that time. And before I even knew about this church, I was always impressed by, she would post on Facebook and social media about her faith. And I admire her so much for that. It's such a beautiful thing. She's an amazing mom and wife and just a good person. And just seeing how committed she is, I really admired that in her. And when I found out this was her church, I'm like, I feel like I want to learn how to be like that a little bit. And so she really actually inspired me to join. And then when we joined, we were just, like I mentioned before, we immediately just felt welcomed by people. Everyone here is so warm.
Yeah.
And it makes it easy to feel like safe in a place where you can let go and actually try to have a relationship with God. It's not stuffy, it's not pushy. And for me, the environment and the people were really a big player. And then starting the Bible classes with you really was eye-opening to me. I had grown up knowing the Old Testament pretty well. I knew what the New Testament was on a very, very rigid, basic level. But I did not grow up knowing the importance of Jesus, knowing really what role he played in religion. I knew he was a name. I knew he was a prophet. but I didn't understand how it all tied together. So going to these services and just hearing people talk and interact and watching the kids take over was pretty cool.
That was so
Watching
good.
those little kids with their hands in the air, just praising with no cares in the world, that is something that's just deep and authentic and raw. And my daughter was doing that. I told you the other day, I caught her in her bedroom, and she was singing the goodness of God and had her little hands in the air. And I was like bawling like a baby in the background, trying not to let her see me. But that's how, as a mom, I want my kid to have that just safety and authenticity.
Well, a few months ago, that wouldn't have happened
No.
for your daughter.
A few months ago, she would have been singing about, I don't know,
Who knows?
Louis or
Whatever was the latest,
She's still a
the
regular
latest
kid.
Disney
Yeah,
movie. Of
it's
course
like-
she is, and she's going to. But to see that, and the Scripture talks. Jesus tells us that we literally cannot come into the kingdom unless we come like a child, and that what you see is really how you come in. So what is it for you, David, when you think about what drew you in? I mean, the invite was one thing, but when you really started thinking about discipleship, or maybe not in those terms, maybe you didn't even know those terms, but what is it that's kind of drawn you in and motivated you toward that?
I would say there's a lot of different things. Just the renewed understanding Scripture, reading Scripture. I've gone all in. I'm in multiple Bible study groups on the Bible app. I'm in business Bible study where I do a few of them with you, and just the fellowship, having the men's group, men's breakfast, the monthly breakfast, just having that kind of community. Because what I look at is now it's legacy. It's leaving a legacy of spirituality, trying to be the best I can for my family, but also leading that legacy so that my children will carry that forward. Because it's just like what you said with the kingdom. It's all about the kingdom. It's building up all the wealth and building up all the notoriety, and this physical life doesn't get you very far in the kingdom. So it's all about building a legacy that within the kingdom of God can carry forward and live on. So I have just been blown away by God has just moved through so many different areas of my life since getting baptized, and it's just every day I feel like I pray, but it's like I'm not praying, I'm just praying to just show me, to continue the path, kind of just me taking my hand off the steering wheel, like you guide and I will follow.
Let's talk about that baptism, because that was a big step, because you were baptized sprinkled as a baby, as a Catholic, and many Catholics are like, that's good for the rest of my life.
That's
I'm
what
good
my mom
to go.
told me. Mom told me, like, when I told her I was getting baptized, she's like, well, you already were baptized. I'm like,
She told me that.
I remember that. And that was an amazing day. It was.
But your family
to them,
came, supported you. Tell me what emotion, what you were feeling and thinking in that moment when you went into the water, when you came up out of the water.
It was like a renewed life. And when they say born again, it's like cliche when you hear that, but you feel when you actually have it, it's pretty accurate. I mean, it was just amazing to everybody that was there, to have my child be there and be able to, actually both my children, my son who's 20, he was there, my daughter too, and then my dad, my mom. I mean, my dad's also Catholic. I mean, my dad always jokes that he would prefer probably to have it in Latin, if anything.
That's real Catholic.
Like a real Catholic, Latin Catholic. So to have them there and to be effective, I think my dad was even crying. I don't know. Not to put my dad on blast here, but it was just amazing. And the entire day was amazing after that. We had everybody over at the house and just talked, and it's just completely changed our lives. I mean, every aspect of our life is no longer, it's not just growing up, it was like Sunday, church is Sunday. Now it's like every day we are living out that ministry, like in our lives. Everything is reflected in that.
I totally see what you guys have been doing really is ministry. You just thought it was a job or a passion or a pursuit of something, but you're ministering to people. Now you take that spiritual aspect that God's putting into your life and you kind of surround what you're doing. Your all's future is literally like off the charts as to potential, as to what God could do. So you mentioned people, Janelle being key, before you ever knew about Life Chapel, before you understood Jesus, had the Bible studies, you saw Janelle. That's important. I think there's something to that. You talked about meeting people and being in groups and being around the community of believers. And I think a lot of people don't understand the importance of what it means to be in fellowship. And then what it means to live that life beyond these walls. Like you said, it was Sunday church, and then you go on with your life. Where now, you're literally living it out, having conversations pop up out of seemingly nowhere, and then all of a sudden you're into this conversation about Jesus and the Bible. And
oh, it's amazing. In my industrial job, I am on the floor of factories all over Northwest Ohio and Southeast Michigan, and the amount of times I am turning into that, I probably would have made fun of myself a year or two ago. I'd have been like, this guy's just randomly talking about Jesus or talking about gospel and all that. I am that guy now. I find that it's very, very well received, and I feel like because we have those pens that have, it's a scripture, what is it, the pens we have?
Emergency Bible verses bookmarks. We got them for Fire on the River.
I love that.
And we had a bunch. I bought a ton.
I hand them out all over the place. I have them in my bag all the time. I'll hand them out.
People love them, and it's bringing an extra level of connection. And for David to have these big, tough guys in these industrial settings, just breaking down for a moment and relating to him and talking about God in the parking lot.
Yeah.
You know,
everywhere, all over the place. And I feel like maybe it's just like what you see or what you're around is kind of what you see everywhere. I feel like there's such a revival right now everywhere, or maybe it's just us. I don't know. It feels like it is everywhere.
I think there's really something. It's like the atmosphere.
Yeah,
you know,
I feel like
it's like watching the weather map and you see a storm coming across the whole U.S.
Yeah.
We're living in one little spot. We're the rain here or there, and I feel like that's kind of what's happening when I think of the atmosphere of the Spirit. It's like if you looked at the whole world, it's like there's this spiritual storm in the positive, right? The atmosphere is set, and it's happening everywhere. Yeah. And I love the fact that you guys have taken the initiative to buy these bookmarks, and they're great little conversation starters.
Yeah, they are.
Right? Great little way to just be like, hey, what about this?
Yeah.
So what's the biggest change in your life in the last 6 months?
One thing I caught myself doing lately is actually talking about God to my daughter. I had never really talked to her about God or religion before. We talked about holidays, and David's family celebrates Christmas, my family celebrates Hanukkah, and we talked about that, but I'd never really talked to her about God or prayer or angels or any of that. And lately she just started first grade, and she has been going through something. All of a sudden she misses us, which is flattering because, the past couple years she's left and gone to school and basically given us the peace sign and bye guys, see you later.
I'm out of here.
But this year she's a little more sensitive, a lot more sensitive. I'm not going to sugarcoat that. It's been a challenge. She has been crying her little eyes out at school and worrying about things. She asked me about death the other day. I was not prepared for that one. But I find the answers I'm giving her are a lot of the answers my parents gave me when I was young. And that's what I love about how religion all ties together, is like when you believe in God, things just make sense.
Yeah.
There are
like
different
that.
religions, but I think, we all believe in God in some way, I think. But I've been really talking to her about the things that matter. And we were talking about what can we do for anxiety? We can say a prayer.
Mind you, this is on the way here.
This is on the way
Wow.
here.
This is like 20 minutes ago, or whatever, or an hour ago.
Wow.
But she's asking the tough questions. And I think part of it is she's not in, the fairy tale land of kindergarten anymore, unfortunately, where everything is kittens and sunshine. She's starting to have real worries about things, which is natural at her age. So when she's asking about what happens when we die, I sat there for a moment. I'm like, man, am I prepared to answer this? So I just kind of winged it, and it was a combination.
Which is what all parents do, right? No matter how confident a parent sounds, we're all winging it.
We really are. And my parents have been amazing. David's parents are both amazing. Whenever we call them and need advice, they give us great advice, especially, with the real things that matter. So I found myself giving her the things I learned as a kid, but also the newer things I've learned here. Some of the language and the just things that made me kind of feel vulnerable to even talk about in the first place. I didn't think I had much of an authority to talk about prayer or God because I hadn't really been practicing that. But then I realized it has to start somewhere for her. So I need to get comfortable in my own religious skin for her to feel comfortable. And David's been great with her too, you know. So we've been finding that she actually finds some comfort when we talk about prayer or, you know, Jesus or things like that. You know, I've been asking her lately when slips up. She's been telling little lies lately. So I'll say, "What would Jesus do?"
Oh,
I
there
remember
you go.
those bracelets when I was
Years
a
ago,
kid.
that's right.
And I never knew what they meant. I was the Jewish girl, the only one in my school, so I was not the cool one. I didn't have the WWJD bracelet.
Yeah.
But I would ask her these things, and you know, one of the things that you talked about was bringing the kingdom closer to earth, to us here, and that has resonated with me. That is just one phrase that I want to bring that into my home, but also into our foundation and our work, our community. So I think we've really changed a lot with that concept.
So, David, with you, if you looked over the last 6 months and just been like, man, this is the one thing that's dramatically changed in my life?
I have people, godly men surrounding me that are a check on me, that are like an inspiration to me, but are also living
holding you accountable.
Exactly, holding me accountable. They might not know they're holding me accountable, but they are. Some of them are actually, you know, and it's made me definitely, you know, times you get like frustrated or about to fire off some crazy post on social media, and it makes me, I know, then you start thinking, it's like, you know, like this is not, like, do I really think this is not a good look? Like this is, and it's been good topics for conversations with my friends and with these groups that I'm in. I mean, I'm just fully engaged, like in these Bible studies that I'm participating in. Like we really get into it. Really, it's and these are,
because we're in a couple of Bible studies together.
Yeah, we are.
We just wrapped up the one. The three of us, but then now we're in our weekly men's Bible study. So we get into some good
changed
stuff.
my life. Absolutely changed my life.
I love that. I love how God comes into our lives, and it's literally an upset, but all for the positive. It's like the most gentle, loving upset you could ever have, right? It's not like he's just flipping over baskets and knocking stuff off the shelf. It's like he's just slowly rearranging stuff in our life.
That's a great analogy.
Right? Just like moving the furniture without upsetting us, and just changing the decor on the table, if you just in the most gentlemanly way. I don't even know if that's a word, gentlemanly.
That's a great way of thinking of it. To where you thought there was a coaster sitting there, and you go to set down your shame or your pride, and it's not there, and you're like, oh, it's different. It's different here now. So give us, where do we find you guys? So talk to us about, you've already given us the foundation, but give us that website again, the Juice website, and then the sauna trailer. Oh, yeah.
Man alive.
We got a lot going on.
You guys need is Bella the personal assistant right now, or are you guys the personal assistant for her?
Like I said, Bella thinks she owns the sauna.
So where's all the places we can go to find more about what you guys do? And because there's probably going to be somebody watching or listening that may have, because like any sickness, autism affects an entire family, but even more so. I think, just from my outside looking in, because everybody in the family has to adjust in some way, where many times with a sickness, one or two people have to adjust and the rest of the family can kind of navigate. So in all that you do, where do you guys just have one website? Like, go to davidandemily.com. I
know, we should. We really do need like
and then you go down the links and be like, health, sauna, juice. Like, I don't know. Just tell me, where do we go to find you guys?
So for our juice company, you can go to www.neuroflexjuice.com. For the foundation, you can go to www.dodrellfoundation.com. And the sauna is actually going to be sort of a child of both of those. So we're going to use it for general community events with the intent of using any funds raised through that for the foundation. So it's going to fuel our foundation. The way we're using it for the foundation is to provide a mobile sauna for people who have cancer who may not necessarily be able to get out of their homes or go very far. But it also gives families the opportunity to go in together. There's a little waiting room. The reason I wanted this sauna was...
So this is a trailer.
Yeah.
It's a trailer.
For people that are watching.
Yes,
I mean,
I
this
know.
is
How
like
do we
the
explain
coolest
this?
thing ever. So it's a trailer that you guys bought
Yes.
that has a sauna in the back.
Yes.
And you walk in the door and it's like a little waiting room.
Yeah.
It's the coolest thing ever.
Yeah, so your kids can wait in the waiting room. And this, Janelle inspired this, actually. She's a mom of 3.
Yes.
And she has a lot of mom guilt, like I would too. I have mom guilt, when I have to wait 2 minutes and take a phone call. So I can't imagine, she's having to take time to do vitamin C infusions, to sit in a sauna, to do hyperbaric oxygen. And I thought, why not build this vessel where somebody, Janelle, can go in there, just hang out, and her kids can be right there next to her.
So you can pull it into their driveway, somebody's driveway.
Yeah.
You got the waiting room.
Yep.
You've got the sauna, infrared sauna.
Yep.
And so you stay there however long they needed to be there, and then you pull it to the next people's house,
Right.
or what? That's amazing.
Yeah, and it's multi-purpose. We're installing infrared lights in there as well for red light therapy, and there is space for people to do infusions too. So vitamin C, we're hoping to get a practitioner here who can do mistletoe. And then we're also going to have a mobile phlebotomist. So really this is going to be a one-stop shop.
But you take it to them instead of them coming to you. Genius.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Genius.
We were lucky to find this, and you should probably shout out Tabby,
Okay, yes.
who designed this.
Shout out to Tabby. So this all happened. Janelle wanted a sauna for her home. And she was researching saunas, and she reached out to me and she said, should I get this one? And no, we do not buy Costco saunas. We're not going to get this one. This is why. And I recommended a Sunlighten sauna. They are the best of the best. They're medical grade, infrared, no toxins. They're made very well, and they're just the highest quality you can get. They're found in cancer clinics all over. So that they're the preferred sauna brand. Well, Janelle called Sunlighten and got a hold of a rep, and that rep happened to be Tabby. And they actually started bonding over religion and God. And Tabby lives in Georgia, and she is the sweetest person alive. Flew up from Georgia to watch Janelle run a 5K.
Oh my goodness.
Who does that? I mean, that's just amazing and beautiful in so many ways. And they just became friends. And then a few weeks ago, Tabby had announced in one of Janelle's groups, I'm going to sell this sauna. Who wants it? And I was like,
this whole trailer sauna thing. Yeah.
That she and her God,
so she built
godbrother
this,
designed it.
Yeah,
Wow.
She had a dream, and God gave her a message in this dream to build this sauna in a trailer. And she had everything just sort of mapped out in her head what she wanted to do, and her godbrother helped her build it, and he's an engineer, I believe. And it is beautiful. It is.
Yeah. I got to see it, and we got to pray over it and bless it. And
I mean, she thought of every detail. It's just so well made, and so I just feel honored that she felt confident that I would do this justice and take it to where the next place was.
Yeah.
So her whole vision with it was heal people from it. I feel like I've been given the biggest gift ever from her, and
that's
it's
fantastic.
It's beautiful. Yeah,
I love that.
It's just interesting. God had to do with all this. There's no other. It's divine choreography, I think.
Oh, I like that language.
It has to be. 'Cause
Divine choreography.
how
I like
else could all
that.
these
Yeah, I
happen,
agree. I
you
agree.
know?
Yeah. I mean, even from you guys finding the prophetic conference with Brock and Janelle, it's
Absolutely.
Yeah.
God just keeps making all these puzzle pieces fit together.
And we almost didn't end up here. We almost ended up at a different church because, about a month prior to that, a friend, one of our Chiefs clients, is just randomly reached out to us, yeah, you guys should come check out this church or whatever. And we kind of thought about it, and somehow the logistics of it on Sunday morning didn't make any sense in our head. I remember talking about it, and then all of a sudden they make perfect sense, and now it is like the highlight of our week. And now it is like, we love it. We absolutely love it, and our daughter loves it, and it's...
Well, thank you guys for coming and sharing your story. I mean, absolutely love this. And for those of you that are watching or listening, let me encourage you guys, share, like I said earlier, hit all the good buttons. Don't hit any of the bad buttons. Leave us a comment. Reach out to David and Emily. Let them know how much you enjoyed this conversation. Now, if you want to find out more about the Cultivated Life, you can go to thecultivatedlifeministries.com. Sharon and I have information there. Most of our books are listed there. You can buy those there. And we would just love to connect with you, because our goal is to see a generation raise up that knows God. All right. God bless you guys. Thank you for joining us. Let's go have a great week.